I'm Corbett Wall with DB Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, February the 3rd, brought to you in part by Performance Livestock Analytics. Manage your feedlot operation anywhere, anytime with Performance Beef. You know, I talk about a lot of my friendships on these visits here, and it's probably the thing that I'm most proud of with my career in the livestock cattle industry is all the friends that I've made coast to coast in my travels, and very proud of that. And usually if I hear something going on somewhere, I know somebody that I can call and find out the scoop on, and then I can share it with you people on here. And they're very important to me is my friendships. And I remember when I was very young, there was an old cattle dealer there that lived in Clayton, New Mexico, where I grew up. His name was Guy Gearhart, and did a lot of business with my dad and things, and he was big on friendships. And I remember he used to always say, whenever he'd leave you, he'd shake his hand and he'd say, if you get thrown in jail, call me. If I can't get you out, I'll get in with you. He'd say, that's a pretty good friend. And I've always remembered that, and I've said that a lot of times. But and I was putting this report together today, and I was thinking, well, that's a friend of mine, a friend of mine, a friend of mine. But I'm going to tell you about a friend of mine that I'm just proud to be able to call a friend, and more than just an acquaintance. I tell you what, he's a legend, he's an icon in the industry. But I can call him a friend. I've been around him enough times, and he just impressed me every time I was ever around him. And that's Ellington Peak from out in California, Cottonwood, California. I tell you what, you'll never meet a better man. He's in his early 90s now, and sharp, you know, as a whip, and done everything. He's owned more cattle than most elderly people have seen in their lives. I mean, he's done it all. I've been able to sit down and you know, have a meal with him. I've been able to run the roads with him. I've been able to share a drink with him, and just hanging on every word that he says. And he's got a book out. He signed that and gave that to me. It just if you're somebody that's involved in the cattle industry and you've never heard of Ellington Peak, you haven't been around too much if you're west of the Rocky Mountains, because I tell you what, he's the deal. Well, almost 60 years ago, Ellington built the Shasta livestock auction yards there in Cottonwood, California, and they're going to be closing that sale barn here next week. So February the 12th, I guess, will be the last sale for them to have at Shasta Livestock. I have called that market Merle Haggard Commission Company, just because of the ties there with that part of California and Shasta. I was relieved that when I talked to Ellington, he got a kick out of that, and he was a big Merle Haggard fan. And in fact, Ellington's wife had a Western store in that sale barn for many years, and Merle Haggard came in there and did some shopping with him one time, and he told me that story. And that's just one of the many stories that Ellington's told me. But it's sad for me to say that they're closing Shasta, and they're not going out of business. I mean, they still have big sales there. They still get plenty of cattle there, but it's just you know, the family's plan there, and to phase out that part of their business. But I just hate it. I was only ever at Shasta one time. I did a talk there last year and was able to watch part of the sale there. But I feel like it's going to be hard on Ellington to not have that sale to go to on Fridays. And I tell you what, he's lined the walls, the hallways in there with his old friends and his consigners and buyers and customers in there. And I tell you what, it's just like going back in time to look at all those old pictures and things. But you know, it's nothing about them, you know, can't keep the barn open. No, they're still having big sales. They were still getting top quotes on this report just a few weeks back, and they're going to have a couple more sales there. But you know, Ellington also started Western Video Market which is, you know, your biggest video market out west there, and with all of his relationships and friends, and they're just into handling bigger strings of cattle. There's not as many small producers in that part of the country anymore. And that's just kind of the way they're shifting that business. They're still going to be having the smaller Western video market auctions there at Shasta, at the facility there, until further notice. At some point, they're probably going to put that property up for sale. It sits in kind of a high rent district there, really close to Cottonwood, California. They've had some issues with runoff and things like that kind of came into play with them deciding to close that market. But you know, it's a flagship market of Western video markets, and that's a big deal out west, guys. Western video market video sales there. Ellington and John Rogers have had that for many years. John Rogers being a world champion livestock auctioneer. He's down there closer to Visalia, and you know, covered that whole cattle country of California. And you think of all the problems that California has with their politics and things like that. They have a pretty vibrant cattle industry there. They do their grazing in the wintertime, and you know, there's a lot of country there. It's a big old state, guys. But just think about Ellington Peak on the next couple of weeks here as he closes his sale barn. And I tell you what, I'm just proud to have him as a friend, be able to talk to him on the phone, be able to be around him many times. Shasta always had the absolute coolest logo to go on caps and jackets and things like that, and that just kind of fit Ellington's personality. And just really hate to see Shasta closing the doors. I'm a big sale barn guy. You won't find another proponent that's all for selling cattle at auction than me, and I do everything I can with the platform here to promote cattle auctions and sale barns. I tell you what, I think that's the salt of the earth, the people that do that. It's true price discovery. You guys can do the drinking game on the LMA contest, how many times they say true price discovery, but it's true, guys. That's you know, how could you have anything more natural than somebody bringing their calf crop in and putting them in front of people, got an auctioneer on one side, people that want to buy them on the other, bidding those cattle up, weighing them right in front of you, and selling them to the highest bidder. I just think that is what this country's all about, as far as I'm concerned, and agriculture too. But hate to see Shasta Livestock Auction Yards having their last sale next week on the 12th. I also want to talk to you about some of the things, and I'm trying to stay out of the politics as much as I can, but when they have to do with agriculture, I can't stay off of them. You remember back whenever Trump was really trying to hold China's feet to the fire here a couple, 3 years ago, and trying to get them to come to their milk and start buying, being a little more fair in their trade, stop stealing all of our properties, intellectual properties and the like, and he's really trying to force their hand a little bit, and did a lot to win that trade war there. And but the media, for the most part, really promoted the fact that it was kind of hurting our grain farmers, our row crop farmers, because they did back off a little bit on their orders, and particularly soybeans. If you remember that, most of the farmers you talked about, they understood, they realized that it was for the better good down the road, and they're really enjoying that right now, if you haven't noticed. But they realized that we're going to have kind of a tough fight there for a while. But Trump put together a fund to support the farmers. You remember he was charging China tariffs on some of the goods they were sending us, and he was just putting money together and doing some purchases of grain products and things to try to pay back your row crop farmers that had sacrificed probably the most in that so-called trade war there. Anyway, $30 billion put together in that farmers fund. And all of a sudden, we've seen, just in the last week or two, we had seen some early signs of the latest or most recent CFAP payments that were going to be coming out. We'd seen what your livestock people were going to get. We're lacking a few more of what they'd come in, and then now all of a sudden those CFAP payments have been seized. And then now we're finding out, which you're not going to find out much through your mainstream media, but that $30 billion Farmers Fund has been seized, and now it's looking like they're going to spend that money on climate change. Well, that's a fine how do you do, isn't it? I tell you what, and you know, you never know what you can believe when you see those deals on social media and things like that, and I kind of raised an eyebrow whenever I saw it there. But on Tuesday, I did hear from a friend of mine, more friends there, about an insider in the Farm Service Agency that says, yeah, it's looking like if something doesn't change, there's not going to be another round of CFAP payments. So you guys just chew on that for a little bit. Okay, let's talk about your futures on Tuesday. February live cattle futures up $1.10, 115.97, back up to close to 116 there, widening that gap, your basis gap on what our cash market is, with the high price last week basically being 113. April up 82 cents at 122.52, and then you go on out from there, and your live cattle were up 40 to up 65. March feeder cattle up $1.20 at 139.12. April up $1.17 at 142.25. Pretty good prices there. And look at the out front, your back months on your feeder cattle, up 80 to up 162. We got those deep fall contracts sitting right around 154. Sounds pretty good when you're putting those grazing cattle together for those summer pastures, right? Your grains were lower on Tuesday. That kind of made people ease up just a little bit. Your fat cattle trade, we didn't see any significant trade on Tuesday. We just saw a few loads of mixed bag deals in the Northern Plains. Can't really tell much about that. But Texas cash pool on Tuesday, continuing to do it. Didn't get as many people participating this week as we did last. Just about 700 head there. They had several bids from these packers that are trying to come forth and give a competitive bid. It's a sealed bid deal there. These are pins from different feedlots, good cattle, you know, kind of grid type cattle there, but the good ones. And all of the bids they received from the packers were higher than last week's weighted average on your live steers. So they ran from just over 112.50 up to 113.22. 113.22 got the cattle. I'd like to see more of you guys participate in that. A good friend of mine, Casey Bradshaw, another friend of mine, Consolidated Beef Producers. He's putting that deal together. His goal is really to have a couple of thousand every week. I mean, it's not that lofty of a goal, maybe 2,000, 2,500 to kind of get things going early in the week on that Texas cash pool. Guys, throw in a little bit there and let's help get this deal going, get it established. How about box beef cutout values? Finally seeing some resistance to the higher prices. These cutout values, and that's not a negotiated price. Packers set that. They have cranked those up and basically been higher almost every single day this year so far. Finally starting to see some resistance. They're about 25 bucks higher, guys, so far for the year. Look at your choice cuts on Tuesday afternoon, 236.76, up $1.08. But selects were off 55, so that's the first time we've seen that for a while. Ending of the afternoon trade at 225.04. Man, have they really got their cutout values back up there where they got something to work with, albeit at light volume, because they're actually needing that product to fill some orders. They're not really caring if they sell a whole lot of it on the spot market or not. Look at your slaughter, 235,000 so far for the week, just through 2 days there. But that's 3,000 more than last week, 6,000 off the same week a year ago. We've been talking about some maintenance and things. The big Dodge City plant's going to be dark on Thursday, it sounds like. But now all of a sudden, as we're starting to understand that these packers are needing this product, guys. You know, they were talking a full week maybe being closed there a week or two ago. Now they're saying that it's going to start out being dark on Thursday. They're going to work day and night in there, maybe back up and going by Monday. so it won't hurt too bad. Hopefully the other plants kind of fill in and we have another big Saturday and overtake the year ago numbers there, because that kind of helps us continue to catch up and be in good shape, especially as we go forward here to the end of the first quarter and get into some lighter numbers of market ready cattle. What else is going on? You know, I got to brag on DV Auction sometimes. None of this stuff would happen right here without DV Auction. The production sale report for January come in and just kind of give you guys an idea of how many people are bidding online. It's just really got to be a normal thing. Very, very few sales left, regular cattle sales that are left that don't have online bidding, and a production sale, you're just sunk. If you're selling bulls, you know, on the farm somewhere or something, and you're not having the opportunity to get online bids because people are busy and they're starting to calve, they can't get everywhere, and it's just so much easier for them to get online, shop through those bull videos and through those catalogs, and be able to bid from home, or maybe while they're checking heifers or something like that with their phone or a tablet. But on DV Auctions production sale report, total bids in January, nearly 8,800 bids. Over $34 million were bid altogether. Total lots sold, nearly 1,600 lots of cattle there. And this is just on the production sales, guys. And your total purchases through January were over $5.9 million. So if you guys have got a production sale coming up, get a hold of us. We can still probably get you booked if it's not too awful close. And the exposure, the number of buyers you'll open yourself up to is just unbelievable. If you got a sale barn and you'd like to get on there, I'll tell you what, we can get you fixed up for that too. And it's not as expensive as you think. I'll just tell you that. And you guys that think you're too remote to have your production sale online, I tell you what, we've got air cards from every provider there, and we can pretty much run your sale anywhere you want to run it from. So let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Tuesday sitting at 137.15, down 40 cents from Monday's close there, so off just a little bit on your Tuesday sales. Let's talk about some of them. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, about 3,400 head there. Not any big strings really, just kind of cleaning up some of your small producers, and there's a jillion of them in that part of the country. Your lighter weight calves, under 6 on the steers, under 5.5 on the heifers, selling steady to $6 higher. The full advance on the heifers, about $3 higher, stopped your steers. Your heavier weights, steers and heifers, selling steady to $3 lower. So not a bad sale there, but a little bit of pressure on your bigger feeding cattle, and good demand for your lightweights. And they have a lot of those continental cross cattle in West Plains, and as guys are starting to buy cattle here through the dead of winter, but warming them up for early spring turnout, that's the kind of cattle they like. Those cattle will really explode. Don't forget, Ozarks Regional Stockyard's got a special cow sale on Saturday. This Saturday, you can view and bid that sale right on dvauction.com. How about Beaver County Stockyards, Beaver, Oklahoma? That sale continues to impress me all the time. Look at these loads of 8 and 9 weight steers. They had a lot of steer loads that weighed right around 900 pounds there, and I was wanting to pull those out so you guys could see them. Look at those 7 loads here that I pulled out of Cattle Market Central, weighing from 8.5 to just over 9, and those cattle bringing 129 to 133.60. That's a pretty good market there on some big feeding steers here this time of the year. How about another sale? Another good friend of mine, Kyle Lehman at North Platte Stockyards, North Platte, Nebraska. Tell you what, dream of his, hometown boy, to be able to buy that stockyard and run it himself. He went off and became an accomplished auctioneer. Very, very good auctioneer. I mean, world class. Actually tied with me in a Canadian contest one time. So I can't resist saying that every time. But at North Platte Stockyards, they had a hell of a sale. And look at this automated market report out of there that I got from Cattle Market Central there, and you can see how good of a sale, kind of a calf special there, but he is breathing new life back into that North Platte stockyards, and glad to see it. And I tell you what, they need a good sale barn in that community, and they've got one, and he's doing a good job running it. Look at the best tested weight there that I saw. 466 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 549 at 174.32. That's not an individual quote. That's all the 5-weight steers he had at the sale barn there on Tuesday. How about another sale up in the Northern Plains? Kimball Livestock Exchange, some more friends of mine up there. Look at this individual quote from him. 209 head, 794 pound steers bring 141.10. Now that's scaring the hell out of 800 pounds, bringing in the 40s, guys. That's a pretty good market there, Kimball, South Dakota. How about another good friend of mine, Terry Kalk Brothers? They help run that Alma livestock auction there in Alma, Nebraska. Brought their home-raised calves in there, 2 big loads of them, 138 head. 825 pound steers right here. You can see them at 137.50. Pretty good sale there. And then Brad Hahn, another good friend of mine, Fredonia, Kansas. And he had a whale of a sale there. And then had a friend on the other end, Derek Neal. He brought in his home-raised steer calves, and I knew he was taking them in there. I said, I think he'll get along just fine. Oh my God, did he get along. But Fredonia, Kansas, Derek Neal's steer calves there is your best quote I saw on Tuesday, and your Zach Tran top quote for the day. 151 head, 529 pound steer calves, Fredonia, Kansas, 183.35. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.